Hey guys, Matt the Auto Nurse here. Super excited. I am going to be giving my, I got these boots right when my son was born, so in October. So October, November, December, January, we're getting close to February, so 3-month review essentially. I've been wearing these primarily at work in the ICU, day in, day out. And I wanted to give you a rundown of what I think, how to clean them, and just an overall review of these JK boots. These are their forefront boots with some modifications that are going to be a little bit more in line with those in the medical field or walking on concrete all day. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a background of why I decided to go this route. I'm an ICU nurse. Specifically, I work in a neuro ICU. We deal with a lot of strokes and head injuries, stuff like that. But when I started nursing, I started having a lot of issues with like my back. And my feet, a lot of issues with plantar fasciitis, and really we walk a ton. You get your, don't get me wrong, you get your slow days as a nurse where you don't do as much walking, but tracking a little bit of data over the last year or so that I been working on this unit, I'm walking anywhere between 10,000 steps and 16,000 steps. Which at 5'11", it translates somewhere between like 7 and 10 miles a day. So you do quite a bit of walking on hard, polished concrete floors. And if you were in a warehouse or in pretty much any other profession, most people aren't wearing sneakers or Crocs. Walking on these hard concrete floors all day. So. My background is I used to work automotive, was a technician for a couple different awesome shops, enjoyed every minute of it, but always wanted to do something like in the healthcare field, and so I ended up going to nursing school, which has been great. It's a very hard job, but very rewarding, especially in the last couple of years with COVID and everything. And I'll get into some stories maybe on a few other videos. So that's what brought me here. I used to wear boots a lot in the automotive field and like other industries that I worked in. Work boots were very common, and I don't find them common at all in nursing. And I always ask myself why. So I decided to make the jump back in the boots. I reached out to a couple of companies because I wanted to get something that was quality, and I ended up reaching out to JK Boots, and Tim is one of the owners there. I think it's owned by 2 or 3 brothers. I need to get back on that. I think there's 3 brothers, and then their dad originally came from Europe over here and started making boots up in Washington. Pretty cool story. He has some awesome videos online kind of talking about his background, but great guy. I've had nothing but positive things to say about my customer experience, his willingness to listen, and they've been a great company to work with, and their boots are awesome. I mean, you can't deny that. The quality is amazing. So that's what brought me here. I wanted something that I could walk on floors. I wanted arch support, and I wanted something that will last, can be rebuilt. The issue I was having, I was buying $160 Hoka's and Asics and Brooks running shoes, and I was still having issues, and they would wear out so fast. So 7 to 10 miles a day and go through a work year, you're looking at maybe 700 to 1100 miles a year. And if you look on any of the websites in these running shoes, you're supposed to replace your shoes after 300, 400 miles. So, you're supposed to be replacing your shoes several times a year, which, I probably was a little lackadaisical on that. But still, I was looking at it and saying, okay, like I'm already spending quite a bit of money just on shoes. And as a nurse, we don't have a lot of equipment. We don't have, I don't have a toolbox full of tools that I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on. Really what we bring to work is our mind, a pencil and a stethoscope maybe, and our scrubs. Like that's pretty much our gear. But I think something that is neglected in the nursing field is our feet. So I wanted to start looking at our feet as more as a tool, because we're on our feet freaking all day, walking, bending over, pulling patients up. And I think having a strong, supportive, great shoe that you could wear for years because they're rebuildable and resolable is something I was really looking into. So this is JK Boots. This is their forefront boot. The color is redwood. It's gorgeous in my opinion. I think these are such a sharp looking boot. And that was something that was kind of important to me to communicate to Tim was, we were still a pretty heavily female industry, and aesthetics are kind of important. But that being said, I think these are really a pretty boot. The only thing that I think might be wanted, as I ask people, what their opinions are, some things that they change, is maybe just a more slender toe. The toe box for me is great. It's roomy, it's not too loose. It's been really good. And that kind of brings me to another thing that's really special about buying a set of boots like this, is that it's not going into a store, you're kind of by yourself and you try a few on. It's an investment for sure, because they are expensive. But if you're not in a location where you can go into the store, you get a fit sheet, you take a bunch of measurements of your foot, you have the option of having them send a tryout boot on. So you can try it on, you can give them a phone call and see, hey, I'm having some issues in this spot or this spot, and they can jot it down, make some adjustments when they make your boot. For example, for me, my left foot, I have my left foot's wider than my right, and my kind of toe bone right here killed me, and pretty much every other set of boots I've had. And I either had to buy a size bigger, which ended up not fitting great, or just kind of dealing with it. So Tim and his guys, they took some notes down, and I don't know what they did, but I have not had one issue with that side of my foot at all since I've had these. So as far as specs on these, this is a 6-inch height. 6-inch height. I went ahead and I was okay with getting the thick leather. These leather uppers are tremendously thick. This is 8-9 ounce leather, ridiculous. But that was one of the things I mentioned to Tim was, hey, anything we could do to kind of make these more, better break-in, the better, because I'm a 230 pound guy, and I'm used to breaking in boots, but for someone maybe new to boots, some of you gals out there, maybe weigh 100 pounds, 110, 120 pounds. It's going to be a little tougher break-in for you. So one of the things I recommended was giving us an option of how thick the leather is, just if that's possible to ease break-in, because we're not trudging through the woods. We're not fighting fires and digging ditches and stuff. We're inside, and that kind of brings us to the next point, is because we walk so much, maybe I mentioned a few things to just maybe ease with break-in and also flexibility. So how these boots are made is you have your lower, which would be this section and this section, your upper. And then you'll have a midsole, which runs here. And what you see, what they did here is that they slice this down right here. And this allows for really good hinging, since, allow you to kind of bend your foot. And really, this boot is built so solid. You're not losing anything by having that midsole run all the way to the front. You'll see a lighter piece of rubber here, and that is actually, it's kind of like a slip sole, or, I think that's how they're describing it. And then you have your kind of foam wedge, Vibram Christie sole down here. So this boot is firm. For someone who's coming from a sneaker or Crocs, this boot is firm, but it's very supportive, and it's not hard on impacts like you would think. It's a very dense foam, so it's not going to feel like a running shoe, but I would just describe it firm but very supportive. So this, they're substantial. This again, this isn't a running shoe. There is some weight here. I can't remember the exact weight on these, but it's probably looking at like 3 pounds between them. So it's not a couple of ounces like running shoes or Crocs. That being said, this is all leather made here in the USA. I don't know what tannery that they use, but everything is made here, from laces to your eye loops to everything. So I'm gonna start breaking these down. We'll get ready to clean these. So it's probably been a month since I've cleaned these, all the way, and we'll go through oiling them, maybe some options that you might use as far as oiling them. So the first thing I do is take off the laces. As you see here, what's kind of different from some of their other boots is that usually there's a separate, false tongue here to kind of protect this soft, darker leather here from the laces. They actually sewed in kind of their own false tongue here, which is it's good. It's been working out just fine. So another thing to note here, there's no insole here. This is all leather from top to bottom, which has some really good properties that I didn't know over synthetics, as far as like mold and smell and stuff like that. I cut these laces, and I kind of burnt the ends, but I went a little thick on them, so they're sometimes a little tough to pull through the eye loops. I'll probably make some adjustments to that. Alright, so we have our laces out. Next thing I want to do, as you can probably see here, I've gotten propofol and drugs and who knows what freaking on these boots. And I generally wipe them, down with like one of our purple wipes or whatever we're using them now, which is a harsh chemical, but the boots have been holding up pretty well. That being said, I think if you were not, weren't oiling them every once in a while, you'd probably start having some issues as far as like the color fading on the boots. But they look pretty good. Okay, now that you have your laces out, first thing you want to do, I have a couple different brushes here. This one I generally use with saddle soap to kind of give it a scrub, and this is to get some like fine dust and like polish them out once you re-oil them. So we'll go through here, get any loose junk off the boot. Okay, get under the tongue here. And again, there's like, these boots have had, you name it, it's had the gambit of bodily fluids and medications spilt on it, and probably it's had some Cardine, probably it's had some Propofol, all the good ICU meds we use. But with oiling them, I haven't had an issue with color at all. So we just want to lather these up. You put just I just dip my brush in some water and scrub it around in the saddle soap so you can kind of make a nice stud. Oop. Alright, looking good there. Just got some blue Scott towels here that I'm using to kind of take off or wipe these down once you scrub them up a little bit. You know, this isn't bad. Like if we're, like I said, we're not out in the woods. We're really not getting these like trashed like some of the firefighters and wildland guys. So these boots are really gonna I think they're gonna be just last a long time in our industry, which again, kind of as a value standpoint, I'm really not minding spending a good chunk of change on on these boots. I'm gonna let these dry. I'll work on the other one here. Yeah, because it's hard because I just don't think in the nursing industry, I just don't think we have really tuned in and looked at shoes as like an investment and as a tool. We're not needing steel toes. We don't really need some of the safety ratings, like if you're an electrician or something like that, where you need an insulation. But that being said, we are still walking on concrete floors all day, every day of our lives. And, I see a lot of people complaining of lower back pain, a lot of plantar fasciitis, and, like I said, I was still having troubles with, really nice running shoes that I was spending a lot of money on too. So, this was such a game changer. Within a few weeks, really, I literally went from having excruciating pain, waking up, hopping out of bed with plantar fasciitis, and that went away once I kind of switched to this style of boot. Okay, so we're getting close here. I think I got all the moisture out. I'm gonna let these sit a little bit. You have this is like an oil that you spread with a brush. It's pretty quick. It works well. But if you're looking to be a little bit more resistant against fluids, I recommend the heavy duty leather preservative. It's more of like a grease wax. In fact, it's based off of beeswax. The words are fading off of this, but it is, what does it say? It's a proven leather research laboratory to resist scuffing, abrasion, stitch tear, dry rot, mold, bacteria growth, manure, caustic chemicals. So I think it's a pretty good option for us in the healthcare field to use something like this. And it's not, I put it on with my bare hands. I mean, you don't have to, but the warmth of my fingers kind of helps it kind of start to seep into the leather. So I just kind of dab my fingers in, and I'll go section by section, kind of working it into the leather. You will see it maybe, it might get slightly darker, but again, that's perfectly fine with me. These boots are gonna age. I'm really curious actually to see how they look in a few years, and guess the patina is pretty popular these days of these boots kind of aging. I've seen Red Wings that look like they've been through war of being sold more than a new set, which is kind of silly to me, but it is popular these days. And so as far as price on these, I'll have to recheck, but they are expensive. And I'm not getting anything from these videos. I don't get any monetary reward at all. I just had a strong desire to find something that was better than what I was wearing, and I reached out to the Tama JK Boots, and he's been really receptive to kind of my thoughts and some changes I had made on the boot. So $450 I think is what they're running on their site, and they take a few weeks to build. I think JK has gotten their build times down to 3 to 5 weeks, which is huge, because when I got these, I think I waited 13 weeks, something like that. It took a long time for these to come in. They're since expanded their shop. They now have a store in Phoenix, and that's where I'm located, Phoenix area, and so you can go in and get fitted, which is great. And it's really a awesome deal for anyone living in Phoenix, and he's looking to expand into a few stores. Firefighting, wildland firefighters are probably his main business. Loggers, stuff like that, because they build more. They have a more traditional boots that they make specifically for that. But super cool that they came to Phoenix first. I've gotten to meet the guys in person. Great folks. So what are some of the changes that I made on these boots, or asked him to make, which, no questions asked. They're really receptive. Is normally there's a bigger lip around the front of these boots, and because it's usually double stitched. I wanted to kind of get these as narrow as possible. We walked through a bunch of cords and wires and tubing and stuff, and to have these as least clunky as possible is kind of what I was going for. Okay, so we have the lowers done and uppers done, and I'm just going to go pretty lightly with what's left on my hands on the tongue here. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's done. It'll dry off a little bit. I'm going to let that sit for a while, and then I'll come back and wipe off any excess with a towel, and then we can buff it out a little bit. So, yep, just narrowing these down. I think if you're maybe a female, or just don't care about the thickness of the leather, I think going with a 6 or 7 ounce leather, something like that, would be beneficial for break-in. Because here's the thing. The hardest part, in my opinion, of breaking in these boots is right here in the upper. They do such a great job fitting these boots that the lower hasn't been an issue at all. That's not been the case with other boots for me. So why is the leather hard to break in on the upper? Well, for one thing I've noticed is in a 6-inch boot, you have less leverage. If you have an 8-inch boot and you're walking and you're doing one of these, you have more leverage to start breaking in this leather, and it's less hard on your shin, kind of ankle area. Here, you have less leverage, and so it's a lot of pressure right here on your shin when you're first breaking these in. And when you have 8 ounce, 9 ounce leather, that's a chore as far as breaking this in. No, that's literally it. Everything else is broken in really easy for me on these boots, but you can lace these a few different ways to kind of reduce that tension. So again, not a big deal, but something to be aware of if you've never worn a pair of boots and you're having an issue in that area. Really, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can't really take away too much for how these boots are made, and You get used to the weight. I have no issues with it. I'll work our rapid response team sometimes, and I'm walking a ton, like through the hospital. I'm hustling to the patient, getting them out of the room, to CT, to get a scan, back into an ICU bed if they're gonna upgrade. So like I do a ton of walking, and I don't notice like any issues, or I'm like fatigued from walking too much. And they've been great. That being said, if you're not used to wearing a heavier boot, it could be something that bugs you just a little bit, and that's okay. I mean, these might not be for everybody, but I think if you are having issues and you're having lower back pain and plantar fasciitis, or you just want something that's quality that's going to last a long time, I think this is a good option. I get it. Not everyone can afford a $400 boot, but like I said, I'm looking at it more as an investment. If I need to rebuild these, I can. If I need to resole these, I can. I expect the leather on this, honestly, I take care of my stuff. I expect it to last a long time, like years. I had, I still have my old fire boots from, a long time ago. Fire style boots, I should say, more like a logger style. And man, they're still holding up because you take care of the leather. I had them resoled recently, and they're back in action. All right, so now that these have been oiled, I just kind of let them sit for a little bit, and then what I'll do is I'll start taking off the excess, just with a paper towel. Do a nice, easy run over of everything. Okay, and then once I'm done with that, I'll take brush, give it a little polish, kind of work in anything that's left over. And after that, really, your only thing is you need to just rethread your shoes with your laces, and you're done. So, this might not be a shoe for everybody. I get it. Some people don't want to have to do anything, and as far as maintenance, I enjoy this. I love working with my hands. I build cars and engines and motorcycles and you name it. If it's something I can work with my hands, I've probably done a little bit of it. So for me, it's really enjoyable. You have a movie going, something like that. That was a good time for me. It might not be for everyone. I'm kind of a nerd that way, but oh dang, look at these things. They look good. That's my other thing, man. Crocs or these? Are you kidding me? These are some handsome devils. Don't get me wrong, I love Crocs. I've had a set or two back in my day, but for being on the floor 13 hours a day, and these are it. These are it for me. They've been so good. I'll probably get another set here in a little bit, and I don't know what color I should get. They have some gorgeous colors. They have, this is their redwood. They have like a regular dark brown, black, mocha colored, which is a really pretty color. I saw a set of bison boots in their store. I think that must have been like a one-off thing, but holy crap, I'd love some bison boots. That'd be pretty neat. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be putting some more nursing content out. Maybe just some funny stories. Maybe some serious stuff. That I've encountered and learned. I went into the ICU as a new grad, so the learning curve is steep for sure. But you guys can do it. my first couple of times floating off my floor was in a COVID ICU, so it was as crazy as it comes. But thank you so much for watching. I'll leave some links below just for the brushes I use, some of the waxes and oils, and I'll leave a link down to Tim's site, JK Boots. Again, I think we need to just start looking at our feet as an investment and as shoes as a tool. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe for more.